Whenever you're ready, there we go. A little bit about the background of the program. So originally the Aid to Agencies program was established in 2008, and it really is to support nonprofit organizations that help fill service gaps in the county. So as you could hear by the individuals on the call, the staffing, we do have a variety of programs. So what services and resources might we not be covering? So then in 2025 of June, there was a review of the key service caps, and the board approved a redesign program. The funding priorities for this redesign program are guided and very data informed and aligned with the county's strategic priorities. So some of that data that comes from the community needs assessments, health and housing data, just to ensure that whatever investment the county makes are responsive and impactful, and again, filling those service gaps. The board has allocated a little over a $3 million budget. And again, it will be a data-informed process to ensure the funding distribution meets those goals. As you could hear, there's a variety of staff on this call today. So the review committee that will review all the applications submitted comprises 13 staff representing the county's community resources, human services, public health, and commissioner's office departments. So a little bit about the program. As I mentioned, it's a little over 3 million. So it's in totality, 3,079,500. The competitive grant portion of that total allocation is nearly 2.5 million. And then there is an allocation for safety net programs, and we'll talk about what that means, of 580,000. So amongst those, the total allocation is that a little over 3 million. The program is really looking to fund 4 categories. So housing and homelessness services, food assistance, mental and behavioral health / substance abuse, that is one category, and transportation. So the housing insecurity, food insecurity, mental and behavioral health / substance abuse, and transportation assistance. The safety nets, so that allocation of that 580,000, that is essentially an entity that is the sole provider of that resource. So for example, you're an organization and you are the only organization in the county that offers domestic violence sheltering, for example, or you're the only organization in the county that offers detox. So it really is that sole provider of those essential services. You would not duplicate any county programs. It is a high need and high impact service. And then you must demonstrate your service uniqueness and demand. So the funding, you'll see kind of the breakout of those 4 primary categories to the right, what percentage is allocated and what that total funding allocation is, and then the safety net providers as well. But again, because of this data-informed process, organizations must demonstrate how they not only meet one of the categories, one or more of the categories, but then also how they serve vulnerable populations. And so the board and the county have identified vulnerable populations, which is inclusive of individuals with disabilities, minority communities, older adults, justice involved individuals, so individuals that have engaged with the justice system, and youth. So those are the primary categories, and you'll see kind of more how this is articulated on the application. So for the eligibility requirements, to be eligible to apply, you must be a registered nonprofit, a 501c3. You must serve Arapahoe County residents. You must align with at least one or more of the service priority categories. You have a demonstrated service to one or more of the identified vulnerable populations. And there are reporting requirements for any entity that is awarded. And then you'll see kind of the link to the website at the bottom.
Okay, is this where I take over, Sasha? Great.
Yes.
So now going into the application and scoring criteria, very similar to years past, we have made some revisions and just some cleanup of language. And so really, we're really trying to take the application components, which are your organization info, program info, the population reach and service accessibility, financial information, and then your supporting materials. And we're taking that over to scoring by looking at the population reach, the ability to reach and effectively serve the targeted population. And then program alignment. Is it aligned with program goals, priorities, and community needs? And then lastly, with financial capacity, demonstrated financial stability, ability to manage resources effectively, so on and so forth. So if we look at each category individually, your organization and program information in the application, here is really where we take a look at your eligibility of the aid to agencies program. We're looking at your program, at your organization mission and program, description of how services align with our county strategic plan. We do link this county strategic plan just for reference on the application. Here you also we look at funding request, including proposed use of funds and anticipated outcomes. And then we do like to take a look at organizational practices related to DEI, as this is something that commissioners value and look at. Please note that funds for this program come out of the Commissioner's General Fund, and so this is not tied to any federal funding. And so when we look at your application components, as we're scoring, we're looking at whether there's alignment with documented community needs, measures alignment with county strategic priorities, evaluates service to prioritize populations, and then organizational capacity and collaboration to reduce the duplication of services. The next section in your application will be the population reach and service accessibility. And so as you're filling out the application, we'll be asking for things such as description of geographic area served within Arapahoe County, the estimated number and percentage of county residents to be served through the proposed program, the description of outreach strategies and how you're intended to engage the prioritized populations, and then an explanation of how services are made accessible to low-income and vulnerable residents. And so as we're scoring, we look at the degree of the geographic reach across the county. We're really trying to take a look at the different areas. And so you indicate which cities your program is serving Arapahoe residents. The strength of projected reach. And so we look at the percentage and the number of residents served overall in your program. The effectiveness of strategies to engage the prioritized population, and then the extent to which services are affordable and accessible. Next, we go into the financial information. Here we ask things such as your budget, your program and organizational budget, financial statements and audit status, description of prior experience managing public or county funding. We do ask that you disclose whether you're currently receiving or have received funding from Arapahoe County. And we just ask like, what was that amount for? Or like, what was a program if it was different than what you're asking for? Description of plans for program sustainability beyond the funding period. We certainly want to ensure that programs are sustainable should funding go away with the county. We did see that pause happen in 2025, and so we do want to make sure that the programs are viable past the county funding. And then a contingency plan outlining how the program would adjust should you not receive full funding as requested. And so as we're scoring it, the review committee, we're reviewing administrative capacity to manage public funds, evaluating the quality of internal controls and your audit history as well, viability of program sustainability if county funding is reduced or not awarded, and then the alignment and reasonableness of proposed costs relative to the program activities. And then lastly, we do have supporting materials. We created templates that we ask you to fill out to the best of your ability. Those templates include the program goals and objectives. We did do kind of like a SMART outline, but you're more than welcome to customize it to what makes most sense to your organization. And then demographics, again, if you're able to fill it out, I know some organizations don't necessarily keep track of this information or may not have this information. But if you do, just fill it out to the best of your ability. And then we have a program budget template with breakdowns of administration costs, operations, contract services, expenses, and then like the overall organization budget. So hopefully that will all be in one Excel sheet, and each template is in a different tab. So should there be any issues, technical difficulties accessing that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And then I'm going to pass it off to Jessica.
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Jessica with Human Services, and I've been on this scoring committee a really long time, more than 10 years. And in recent years, especially with Daniela's hard work and help, we've kind of expanded our ability to give you technical assistance with this application process. We've come a really long way from our big binders of copies of paper applications that we used to look through. So now we have an online application process, and you all know about the workshops that we offer because you're here today. So if your organization needs a little bit of information or help, we have these workshops available to go through the application process, eligibility and scoring criteria, to just give you an overview of what this process is going to look like. And I know most of you, or many of you, have done this before, but we have a little bit of change every year. So I'm really glad to see that you're here today. We have also one-on-one support. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one meeting with any of our staff on this committee to get help and support and have your questions answered, we're also willing to do that. We have a frequently asked questions portion of our website that asks common questions and gives the answers to those, so that you may not need to contact us. You might be able to find it there. And then, as Daniela mentioned at the beginning, we are recording these workshops because we know that people can't always attend at the time that they're offered. So this way you can watch this workshop on the website on demand. Okay, so the next part of this is our timeline. So you know that the application launched on June 1st, today, June 8th, and then June 23rd from 2 to 3:30, and then July 8th from 9 to 10:30. We're offering these virtual workshops to give you the overview of information that you need. And then again, those are recorded. The application closes August 7th. At that point, for September and October, our review committee, and we have a very wide ranging group of people who will review these applications. We have people, as we mentioned, from all several of our departments in the county. Plus, we've recently added people from our new health department. And we also have people from finance to look at the budget pieces of this. So we will review your applications and individually score them. Then our group comes together to discuss our scores and come up with a plan for recommendations. Those recommendations will be made on November 10th to our Board of County Commissioners. Generally speaking, we offer more than one recommendation with what we with our preference for the what we think is the best recommendation, and the board asks us questions and goes over the numbers and reviews what we're recommending. They have discussion, and then generally they vote that day to proceed with a recommendation, usually the one we send, but not always. And then on December 8th, the awards will be adopted for the 2027 budget. So as you can see, this is about a 6-month process. Throughout the process, we're constantly coming back together, reevaluating, figuring out things that we didn't anticipate, or answering questions or helping organizations along the way. But you do have this year 2 months to get those applications completed. So. And then are there any questions for any of us or about these slides that I've gone over?
I have a quick question. Can you just share where the template is at for the project goals?
Yes, as you're filling out the application, there will be a link where you can access that template.
Excellent, thank you.
And this is Susan Thornton from Immigrant Pathways, Colorado. We've never had a formal audit because of the cost. Is that going to be a significant barrier?
Jessica, I saw you get unmuted. So, but I could take this question. No, this does not automatically disqualify you. If you've completed an audit, we surely appreciate that. If there is something in place of that you've completed, such as like the 990, we will also take that, but that will not automatically disqualify you if you have not completed that.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to Daniela's, just an overarching kind of comment about things like that, is that we have really worked hard to develop an application that is fair to organizations of all sizes and all kind of spectrum. So we don't want to penalize a small organization or an organization that cannot afford an audit. So we have tried to weight the questions in a way that whether you're a large organization with a grant writing team or a small kind of mom and pop organization, we've done everything we can to weight the questions so that everyone is treated fairly and that we give every type of organization an equal opportunity to receive funding. So we have really kind of spent a lot of time over the years to develop questions that we think are fair and fairly weighted to make sure that we do have places for all different organizations to score points so that they can get their applications approved.
Julie, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just wondered if you qualify for one of the 4 categories plus you're a safety net provider, do you apply differently or is it just all the same?
So you would not apply any differently. We try to include questions within the application that would essentially let us know whether you would qualify as a safety net or not. And so I think this is like the best way for us to continue evaluating whether there's new organizations that would qualify under the safety net criteria or not. So it would not be any different. I think just fill that out to the best of your ability, especially in the questions where we ask your uniqueness of services or that sort of thing. So you would still pick the best category that you think your program falls under, and then we would make those determinations as we're reviewing.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? I don't currently see any hands. Okay. It looks like there are no questions. I know a lot of you are returning applicants, which is very exciting. As I mentioned earlier, the application is very similar to last year's, but should you get stuck, should you just have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to help, try to answer questions. We are also available to meet with you one-on-one if you think, you know, your organization may or may not qualify. But if there are no other questions, then I think we could end early. Okay. Well, great. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.